Thursday, January 28th. There is the closing bell, guys, with the S&Ps up about 35 points. Stocks are seeing a rebound for the most part. Will it carry into tomorrow's session? Let's dive right in, break this market down, and then go over the top stocks of the day. We take a look at the overnight session, and we've established a floor around the 3,700 level, which is a 2 standard deviation move, and an area I said, watch out, it should play some strong support. However, someone must have phoned in Jerome Powell because we trended up very strong until about 2 o'clock, and now we're fading into power hour, and we're seeing some selling in the final minutes of trade. We're giving a lot of the gains that we had today back. However, will this move on into Friday's session? Now, when we take a look at the SPX and where we stand on the week, we came in this week expecting 73 points up or 73 points down. We hit the down mark yesterday at 37.68. As you can see, we bounced off it twice, and then we ultimately broke through it. Today, we raged higher. We came just shy of that midline, and we're rolling back over. So the question becomes, do we see some more selling in tomorrow's tape? And if we do that, 37.70 should play a strong level of support. But the question becomes, are we going to see an outside expected move, which we haven't seen since November? You can see back in Thanksgiving, we broke the upper edge. Other than that, we've closed inside these moves every single week. So we're due for an outside move, which tells me if we do break 37.68, we could potentially fall maybe half a standard deviation from that, which is about 36 points from this 37.68. So do the math. We'll see if we get some selling, but let's cruise on over to the Nasdaq and see how technology did. Now we take a look at the Nasdaq and we can see it was up about 0.5%. So we had the S&Ps up 0.9% and falling, and the Nasdaq is lagging that about 0.5%. We look at it intraday, it looks identical to the ES. However, it's falling a little bit faster than the S&P 500. Now when we compare it to the Big 5, we can see today that the Big 5 was up 0.5%. So it's in line with our Nasdaq. Nothing special going here. However, being up, it does help our SPX. So you can see it's up 35 points. But we had some earnings out of some big names yesterday. We saw earnings out of Apple, and you can see Apple's down over 3.5% today. How it's trading, it's falling very fast, and Apple is the biggest stock in this marketplace. What else had earnings? Well, Facebook had earnings, and it too is down over 2.5%, as well as Tesla down over 3% here. These are big market cap companies, and they're going to put a lot of stress on this marketplace. However, we do see Microsoft up 2.5%, Google up close to 2%, and Amazon up 0.15%, basically flat on the day. And next week on Tuesday, Amazon and Google both will be reporting, so that could give the market a little boost. But other than that, our Big 5 is just kind of in line with the Nasdaq. Let's cruise on over to the Russell and see how the small caps did. Taking a look at the Russell here, it's up 0.10%, basically flat on the day, which is kind of odd. You'll see in a second. The Russell has been going up and down all day long. It can't find a direction. And when we take a look at some of our sectors, what led today? Well, the financials led today, up almost 2%. So this is a head scratcher, seeing every index up. However, our Russell flat. I sense a lot of manipulation, if you ask me, especially what happened in today's trade with certain tickers being taken down from exchanges. Talk about free markets, free speech, free thinking. It's all being taken away from us, which is why I'm a big believer in crypto, which we'll get to in a second. But let's look at some of these sectors. We got the energy sector up over 1%. Technology up 0.4%. It is falling fast, though. We take a look at it. Everything is kind of coming back down. You see energy kind of flat here. But for the most part, all our sectors were up today. Even software was up over 1%, which a lot of the software stocks are inside the Russell, which is just odd to see how the Russell performed today. Now, when we take a look at the AD line, 75 advancing and 25 declining. What gives? All of our sectors are up. However, there are some hand-picked stocks that are down on the day. This AD line was closer to about a 90-10, and now you can see it's slowly peeling open. Will we keep seeing more selling into tomorrow's session? It's going to come down to what the financials, energy, and technology want to do as a whole. However, I think most of the selling should be done after tomorrow, and we can look to going higher into next week, which is a new month as well. Let's cruise on over and take a look at our bonds. And looking at the 30-year bonds, they're down about 0.5%. So with equities up, you would expect the bonds to be down, especially when the financials are up close to 2%. The bonds better be down, and that they are. So the TNX in turn was up over 4%. So our 10-year yield now is sitting at about 1.05% here, so it's trending back higher for the most part, and this is something to keep our eyes on. If it wants to get back to these high levels over here, that would imply that the bonds are rolling over, which is going to increase the yield, and that means that equities are going to get rallying, which right now it seems like they're stuck in mud. Let's cruise on over and take a look at our volatility index. Taking a look at the VIX futures, they're down 4%. We take a look at it intraday. They're finding a base around 30, and you can see they're just waffling around here. When we look at the VVIX on an intraday, you can see we soared in after hours. After seeing what Apple and Facebook and Tesla came out, the VVIX just erupted here. Hitting 168 is absurd. However, today it was down over 15%. For the most part, I think volatility is going to get pushed back down. This is a very high surge, and you expect most of the time it does that. The VVIX comes back down, so the VVIX in the coming week maybe should be coming back down to this 120, 115 level that we spent a lot of consolidation in. I think the fear should just come back into the box, and I think equities are going to get back onto rallying. After all, Wall Street seems to only want stocks to go higher because it gives them less stress and it makes their job just easier. Let's cruise on over and take a look at our dollar index. Taking a look at the dollar index, it's down about 0.15% here. Sitting around the 90.5 level, the dollar is just in a state of consolidation. I don't expect this dollar to rally up higher. However, you don't know in these markets, but I think a lot of people are expecting a lot of money printing this year, which printing more US dollars devalues your currencies, which should weaken this dollar index, pushing it down. How did our commodities do? Well, crude oil today was down 1%, but for the most part, it's consolidating here on this 52 handle or so. Now, crude oil down over 1%. We saw the XLE up, so it didn't affect our energy stocks today for the most part. How did gold do? Well, gold is down 0.25%. Down $4 at $18.44. Gold saw a nice spike intraday. However, it was quickly put back down. Now, silver, on the other hand, was up 4.5%, which is crazy. The Wall Street bets on Reddit have been talking about buying SLV. Could be their next target. Look at the volume today in the SLV. This is going to be very, very interesting because silver and gold are both heavily manipulated markets. So seeing an epic short squeeze in the SLV is going to be bonkers. Now, looking at the SLV here, it was up 5% with gold flat. That's not your normal trading session here in the metals, but this will be very interesting if the small retail guys can push a lot of these Wall Street shorts out of silver that have been so compressed over the years. And last but not least, we have Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is just a beast, guys, putting in a nice floor here. My charts around the 30 to 32K are very, very strong. So any break below 30.8 is a great buy, guys. Keep buying these dips and keep loading Bitcoin because Bitcoin is not going anywhere. It's a decentralized currency. And I'm going to be doing way more Bitcoin videos. After today, I was very upset how the market traded, how basically you can remove tickers, just whatever they want to do. So there's a lot of frustration going on in the communities, and I want to educate more people on blockchain and crypto, which I'm taking a class on blockchain, which I will be sharing my knowledge with you guys as I learn more in the coming weeks. Other than that, guys, I expect some big moves in Bitcoin coming in February, so buckle up and buy Bitcoin. There you have it for the stock market breakdown. Now, if we see some selling tomorrow, look for that 3770 level to play very strong support. I don't think we're going to see a lot more selling. The VIX was down a sizable amount today, and I think it's going to continue to get put back into its box. So I'm expecting a more calmer tape in terms of volatility. I don't think we're going to see a wide move, but who knows? You never can predict what can happen and what can be said in tomorrow's session. But hitting the outside move on yesterday's trade, I think 3770 should play a very strong level of support. Other than that, let's move on over and take a look at some of our top stocks on the day. So we go over to the scan tab and we hit scan, and there are 11 tickers on here today, and I kind of picked some that I want to talk about. So coming in at the number 3 stock of the day goes to Uber Technologies. Today Uber was up over 7% with a market cap of $95.4 billion on a year to date. Uber is up only 0.86%. So Uber is a pretty good bargain right now, if you ask me. Sitting at $51. What does Uber do? Well, they provide ride-hauling services. The company develops applications for road transportation, navigation, ride-sharing, and payment processing, also doing food deliveries as well. Why is Uber seeing a nice pop today? Well, it got a price target raised to $65 a share, and it also announced prescription delivery in New York City with Nimble, and Nimble is a rapidly growing prescription delivery company. So Uber is expanding what they do little by little, and ultimately Uber is going to be a reopening trade. As this economy reopens and more people get some faith in traveling, Uber should do very well. We'll see how it trades going into this year. But other than that, Uber looks pretty cheap. Now, when we throw it on an expected move, we came into this week expecting $2.87. Our lower edge is 51.44, and you can see we're just sitting a nudge above that. So every time you see a move break this outside or upside, expect it to come back to the mean. And that's what we're seeing here. Uber's slowly coming back down to the upper edge. It could drift higher to the midline of the week. That's 54.31. I don't expect it to get much higher, but look for this 51.44 to play pretty strong support to finish the week tomorrow. Coming in at the number 2 stock of the day goes to Square Inc. Today, Square was up 8.6% with a market cap of $99.1 billion on a year-to-date. Square is down 0.5% on the year. Now, I really love Square. Now, what does Square do? Well, Square is a commerce ecosystem. The company enables its sellers to start, grow, and run their businesses. Now, they also own Cash App, which is where I buy my Bitcoin. So they also have exposure to Bitcoin. So this is a Bitcoin play as well. And I think it's going to do very well when Bitcoin does well. Being down on the year, I think this is a bargain buy here in the coming months. It has earnings at the end of February. But I think when Bitcoin gets going, this is a stock that's going to reap some of that reward. We throw it on an expected move. We expected $10.60. You can see extremely oversold yesterday. Coming back to that lower edge of 212, we broke that. We got rejected at the midline on the week. That's sitting at around 222. Call it 223. Now, I don't expect it to go much. If Bitcoin gets going tomorrow, maybe we hit the upper edge at 233, but for the most part, I'm expecting a midline finish, and going into next week, it should get some momentum. I'm expecting some big moves from Bitcoin here very soon in the coming week. So if Bitcoin gets rocking, Square is going to be following that, and I think Square is a great investment going forward into 2021. Coming in at the number 1 stock of the day goes to L Brands Inc. Today, L Brands was up 10.3%. It was the top performer out of all my searches. I scanned for 5%, 5 billion market cap, and 5,000 options traded. So L Brands was the top stock here. At 11.5 billion market cap on a year to date, it is up 4.6%. Now, what does L Brands do? Well, L Brands is a global specialty retail holding company that specializes in women's apparel and beauty products. Brands like Victoria's Secret and Bath & Body Works. L Brands today, why is it up? Well, couldn't find news specifically today. However, it did get whacked hard yesterday. Trading lower with a lot of overall market weakness yesterday. You can see a nice gap down. It also saw some notable earnings, and speculative retail trading drive market volatility. So this is seeing a nice bounce higher. We look at it intraday, and it just kind of trended higher and kind of hit a wall here. When we look at it on an expected move, we are below the lower edge. Coming into this week, we expected $2.19. 43.09 is that lower edge. I would like to see it get there, maybe kind of calm down at this 43 level, just to end this week's of trade before going into next week. But I think it still has some upside going into tomorrow's trade. We'll see how it goes, but if this market rolls over, I expect it to pull just about everything down with it. But I think a lot of the selling is over, and I think L Brands can trend higher in the coming weeks. There you have it for the top stocks of the day. Did you get a chance to watch any of these names? Now, a lot of stocks rebounded today. However, there was a lot of manipulation in my opinion, which kind of turned me off. I don't like when people say you can't trade this, you can't buy that, because what's the point of living in a free country if you're told what to do? Other than that, guys, if you enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up button, guys. I really appreciate it when you show some support. And if you're watching me for the first time, show some love and hit that subscribe button. It takes 2 seconds. Just push that button. Make me happy, guys. Other than that, any comments, questions, feedback, leave a comment down below, and I'll get back to you. Other than that, have a safe night. Take care. Peace!